Okay, so get ready because we are diving deep into the world of procurement today.
Yeah.
But like not just like a general overview, right? We're
Right.
trying to figure out like what it takes to become a procurement category specialist.
And it's pretty interesting. A lot more than just paperwork and stuff.
Okay, so tell me more about that. What's got you excited about this deep dive?
Well, for one, it's way more dynamic than most people think. I mean, you're dealing with strategic sourcing,
Hmm.
you're analyzing the market, negotiation tactics, even like a little bit of psychology comes into play.
Oh, now you've got me really intrigued. So we've got all these resources like career guides, a bunch of articles, even some AI tools for job searching.
Hmm.
Where do we even start with all of this?
Well, I think the best place to start is with the heart of the role. So procurement category specialists, they're kind of like,
Like a detective for their organization's money.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They want to make sure every dollar is bringing in maximum value.
So it's more than just getting a good deal then.
Way more. It's strategic. Like one of the resources mentioned a case study, this procurement category specialist for a tech company, they realized that their supplier was about to be kind of left behind by newer tech.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they found this smaller supplier, but way more innovative. Saved the company millions.
Wow, that's incredible. So they need to understand the market and be a good negotiator.
Yeah, you could say that.
That's just one example, though, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. What they do can really change depending on how far along they are in their career.
That's a perfect transition to our next topic, the career path itself. So, like, how do you even get started in this field?
Well, a lot of people start with an entry-level position, like a procurement assistant or coordinator,
Okay.
doing things like market research, data analysis, that kind of thing.
Building that foundation?
Exactly.
You know, the RoleCatcher guide, it really stood out to me how many different kinds of career paths there are.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Like they talked about this one person started in logistics, then moved to contract management, and then ended up as a chief procurement officer
Oh, wow.
for a huge global manufacturing company.
That just shows you how many different paths you can take. Like, as you gain more experience, you could focus on a specific industry, lead a team, maybe even become a consultant for different organizations.
It's pretty encouraging, honestly, especially for someone just starting out. But you need a really specific set of skills to climb that ladder.
Definitely.
We both saw that negotiation and market analysis were essential.
Hmm.
But what about those skills that aren't so obvious?
Right.
The ones that make a procurement category specialist stand out.
That's where it gets really interesting. So yes, technical expertise is important, but the resources emphasized soft skills.
Okay, so what do you mean by that? Like active listening or something?
Things like active listening,
Hmm.
problem solving, even social perceptiveness.
So it's not just about the numbers then. Being a people person actually matters.
100%. There was this anecdote in the guide about this procurement specialist. They were using their active listening skills,
Huh.
and they figured out that this potential supplier had a concern, but they weren't saying anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and because they were able to identify that and address it head on, they built trust and got a way better deal in the end.
So, like, you need to read the room,
Exactly.
understand people's motivations, and then adjust your approach.
You've got it.
Yeah.
And that ability to adapt, it's not just with people, it's the whole field. Procurement's always changing.
Especially now with technology changing so quickly.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we can't forget about the elephant in the room. Well, maybe the algorithm in the room is a better way to put it. All those resources you shared, they really showed how AI is changing how people look for jobs now,
It really is amazing to see.
especially for procurement, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're
Mm.
seeing all these new AI tools popping up, like RoleCatcher. It's a total game changer, especially with how competitive the job market is.
It seems like it does way more than just like send out your application to a bunch of places.
Right.
Like it actually figures out what skills you have and then finds the perfect jobs for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the articles had a really good story about this one candidate. They had tons of experience, but they were having trouble getting interviews for senior procurement roles.
Interesting.
Turns out their CV wasn't really highlighting the right stuff, the keywords and skills that the hiring managers were looking for.
Oh, I see.
But then they used RoleCatcher, and it helped them create a way better CV, and they ended up getting their dream job.
Wow. So it's like taking all the guesswork out of it.
Exactly. And it's not just about the CV. It also gives you insights into what kinds of questions they might ask you in an interview, especially for procurement roles.
So you don't walk into an interview and get thrown off by a curveball question?
Right. You feel prepared and ready to go. But even with all this amazing technology, the most important thing is still, what makes a procurement category specialist truly successful.
It factor.
Yeah, exactly. And all these resources kept emphasizing the importance of being a strategic thinker.
So being able to see the big picture and what challenges might pop up.
Exactly. One of the articles even compared procurement category specialists to chess masters.
Oh, wow. Okay, I like that.
Like you have to think several steps ahead. What's the market going to do? Any potential supply chain issues? What are the long-term effects of your decisions? You have to think about all of that.
So don't just react. Try to stay ahead of everything.
Exactly. And that means being adaptable too. You got to be able to change strategies quickly, be open to new technologies, and, just be able to thrive in a market that's constantly changing.
And we can't forget about communication skills.
Oh, absolutely.
We talked about active listening earlier, but they also have to be great negotiators and really good at getting their point across.
Yeah, for sure. They have to get everyone on board with their ideas, influence the people making decisions, and be able to have tough conversations with their own teams and the suppliers.
It's a lot.
It is. One of the career guides talked about this scenario where the procurement specialist had to convince their company to switch to a supplier who was more sustainable. But, of course, they were also more expensive at the beginning. So they had to really make their case, explain why it was a good idea for the long run.
Oh, wow.
They had to address all these concerns from different departments.
It's like being a lawyer for your category.
Yeah, kind of. You have to be persuasive.
So you need technical knowledge, good business sense, and great people skills. That's a lot to juggle.
And that's what makes it such a rewarding career. It's not just about numbers. You're making decisions that really affect the entire organization. You're right there in the middle of finances, strategy, new ideas, everything.
You have a real impact.
Exactly. And with tools like RoleCatcher becoming more common, it's getting easier to become a procurement category specialist.
It's like it's leveling the playing field, giving everyone a chance.
Right. And it gives you the information and resources you need to be successful, which is huge in this job market. One thing that really stuck with me from all of this is that you have to keep learning. It was in almost every single resource we looked at.
It's true.
Like, it's not enough to just be good at what you do. You have to constantly be learning new things, getting better, being open to new ideas.
Be ready to adapt.
Yes. And the guide suggested all sorts of ways to do that, like going to conferences for your industry, joining professional groups, even just connecting with people who are already working in that field, maybe finding a mentor.
Networking is so important.
It really is. It's not always about what you know, but who you know. Having a good network can open up doors to opportunities you never even knew existed.
It's like that saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I thought it was interesting how the guide emphasized that you have to find your own way to learn too.
Yeah, like everyone's different.
Like you could get a specialized certification, attend workshops, or even just like make time every week to read industry news.
It always comes back to that idea of continuous learning, right? If you want to be one of the best procurement category specialists, you have to always be curious and be on the lookout for new information.
Never stop learning.
Exactly. So as we start to wrap things up here, I want to encourage everyone listening to really think about this. What are you most interested in? What industry or category really makes you want to learn more?
Out of all the ones out there, which one really speaks to you?
Because once you find that, that's where the magic happens. That's where you can really excel as a procurement category specialist.
It's about finding that niche, right? Where you can really let your passion and knowledge shine.
That's the key. You can't just know the role generally. You have to find that specific area where you can excel.
It seems like all the resources we've talked about, they all agree that specializing is so important.
That makes sense, right?
Whether it's sustainability, tech procurement, even something as specific as, like, I don't know, rare earth minerals.
Exactly. Becoming a true expert in your area is invaluable.
So you become the go-to person for a particular industry. You know what's happening, you see the trends, all of that.
Think about it. If you were hiring someone, wouldn't you want the person who's totally immersed in that field?
Definitely. You'd be a huge asset to any team. But it takes more than just reading a few articles to become that expert.
Oh, for sure. You got to be proactive. Go to conferences, join those professional organizations we talked about, find a mentor who's already doing what you want to do.
Networking, so important.
It's everything. It's not just what you know, but who you know. Your network can open doors you never even thought of.
I like how the guide mentioned finding your own learning path, too. It's not one size fits all.
Right, everyone learns differently.
You could get certified, go to workshops, even just make time each week to stay updated on industry news.
It always comes back to that continuous learning, right? The best procurement category specialists are always learning.
Always be a student.
Exactly. And luckily, with everything available online and in person these days, there's really no reason not to be.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave everyone with this. What are you most curious about?
What gets you excited to learn? What industry or category really calls to you?
Because once you figure that out, that's where the magic happens.
That's how you become an incredible procurement category specialist.
Well said. And remember, we talk about tools like RoleCatcher. They can definitely help you along the way.
But it's really about you, your passion, your dedication, how you think strategically. That's what sets you apart.
So we've gone through a lot today.
We have.
We talked about what procurement really is, what it takes to be successful, even how AI is changing the game.
All these little insights, like how important it is to specialize, to keep learning, to build those relationships.
It's been a journey for sure.
It has.
Hopefully everyone listening found it as helpful as we have.
Absolutely.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep that curiosity alive, and remember, the future of procurement belongs to those who aren't afraid to dive deep.
I love that.
And don't forget to check out all the resources we mentioned. Who knows, they might just be the key to your dream career in procurement. We'll see you all on the next deep dive.